What's up, everyone? It's Eden here. So, about 5 days ago, I released Chapter 1 of the movie I'm making called Frost the Wizards. It's a 22-minute film, and so far, it looks like it looks pretty good. And I was going to make this video a little earlier, but I decided not to. But since I'm down and boned on content, I'm just going to do like a little video of some behind the scenes background information and some other information as well regarding to the future. But this is just mostly just supposed to like explain to you guys some of the original ideas of what the movie was going to be about, just for, just for some extra facts. So yeah, let's get into it. Also, not to bore you or anything, but some of the movie footage will be in the background. So in case you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you watch it because it's a pretty good film, and I spent about a month working on it. So yeah, it's a good film. We'll get into information about the future chapters and all that. So yeah, let's go. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this part of the movie, as you see on screen. So in this scene, as you can see here, I and Todd are walking outside, getting ready to go to school. Well, Todd wasn't, and he was kind of running behind. So we had to get ready for school, but since Todd was, playing Minecraft and all that, we missed the bus. And then we had a little argument, and then Todd decided it was a perfect opportunity and time to start a fight. Yes, I don't even know why Todd decided to think it was a great idea instead of just asking mom to take us to school. But the original scene was it was actually going to be me dragging Todd, and we were going to walk on the sidewalk or road, and we had to walk 3 miles to school. And I don't know, wasn't actually planning to like make any scenes of me showing up to class late. I think either so it will probably just me being in the room doing the test and all that. But yeah, the reason why it couldn't be me dragging Todd was because the animator, like, I was trying to get a grip of Todd's foot, and whenever I moved my character and his character, his upper torso up would just literally go into the sky. So it was mostly me just carrying his waist down, and it made it look ugly. So instead, what happened was I just made it so that Todd was knocked out because, I'm stronger than him. And then I was just complaining like how I have to take an exam and he's just holding everything up. So, yeah. That's pretty much what the original scene was going to be for that portion. Oh yeah, and by the way, this image right here was actually a leaked scene of the movie, so I told Trunk that he could actually leak the scene since, I gave him permission to, and this was the school scene. So yeah, if you don't understand or if it wasn't clear enough that Trunk failed the test, and the most logical thing was to actually whip out his Endbringer, but at the end it was actually just to save me from failing because I didn't study for the test, of course, and just to make it to that little party, which wasn't even actually mostly a party. It was actually just supposed to be a showdown between our good demon friends Dice and Aaron. And some of the scenes involving with their showdown actually was changed quite heavily and all that. So I'll explain those in just a bit. Following up the scenes where we meet up with Frick and I at the locker, this scene was changed just a little bit. I mean, mostly the entire duration of the scene was just Frick and I talking, but it was just literally one image. So I had to literally replace the image and then added some like animation effects just to make it a little bit more like how a person would be in a conversation, just staring at each other for like 1 minute and not moving or anything like that is just kind of weird actually. But yeah, that's why Frick's face was different, because at the time I was animating, like, the faces of the characters were a little bit different, so that's why some of the faces of the characters might be a little bit different, and then they'll change because some scenes had to be reworked and all that. So that also follows up to like some of the scenes at the end, which we'll talk about, but for the most part the locker scene was changed just a little bit to have a little bit of animating effects so it wouldn't be one big picture. Because let's be honest, if it was just a picture, it wouldn't be even interesting. A little bit of animation would actually make it a little bit look more better. Yes. Probably one of the toughest things I had to do for animating for this movie, at least, but it wasn't actually entirely that bad. So here comes to what we call the showdown, at least at this portion of the video, for like 10 the 10-minute mark to like, I don't know, something, I guess. But yeah. So basically, our good demon friends, Aaron and Dice, they were gonna have a showdown of seeing who is more better and professional with a sword, because it could be used for something. There's training. The demons have been training for something. It could be pretty big, and that's why we had a little bit of a test to see who's more professional. And clearly, if you were watching the movie, you would highly notice that probably Dice has beaten Aaron, and they were gonna have a duel, so that's cool. But the most things that were reanimated in this portion was the Aaron and Dice's performance. So Aaron's original performance was just him throwing the sword in the air, but it was so ugly and so badly animated. Like, I just couldn't even stand looking at it. Like, if that was included in the movie, I would just cringe at it so hard, because it's not even anything like this. First of all, the sword is just moving by itself, really, and Aaron's arm wasn't really properly animated, so it would look kind of weird. But I made an excuse saying that Aaron was trying to control the gravity, but at the end I just rehalted it and just made him like move his arm around, so like he can actually trick with it a little bit and it won't even scratch the body. The follow up of Dice's scene, so it's pretty much similar, except that in the first, before, it was, sorry, my phone rang by spam risk. His original scene, so yeah, it was pretty much very similar, that his sword would just move around, except that when I was animating the sword, it would just go in some random direction. It was awful quality. So I reanimated and just made his entire arm move around, since that made it a little bit more better. It was gonna be like, well, you can obviously tell that it's looped, and he would obviously take a break for like half a second. So that wasn't really the actual plan, but I had to work with it because that's all I had to work with. So that was mostly the follow up to the showdown, and then yeah, Dice beat Aaron, and then that's when we got taken to our next scene with the demons. So not much was really reanimated with the demons. So yeah, that's really not important, really. But following up to like almost the mid of the end of the movie, pretty much mostly the end of the movie, the conversation with Frick and I again, near somewhere of those big large doors near outside the gym, actually, of them. It was just us talking, a few animations. Before it was going to be one big picture, but yes, I said it would be like very ugly, so I had to change that. Then the follow up of Frick, Aaron, Dice talking. It was just going to be one big giant picture again with, text labels. But since, I gave each other screen time, so it was actually focused on between Frick and I from one part, and Dice and Aaron the second, with each one being animated when they're talking. So yeah, a lot of which of the movie was just me removing pictures and trying to add particle animation effects, etc. I don't even know how to properly say it, but for the most part, just to make it animated and look a little bit more better instead of just one big giant boring picture. That's the whole thing, is going into it. I don't even know if I'm making sense anymore, but sometimes I don't feel like I'm making sense, and then when I actually go and edit this video, I feel like I know what I'm talking about, and I hope others do. But for the most part, that's pretty much just really just some of the behind the scenes and some of the major changes that were made into this film. So yeah, I hope you liked it, and if you haven't watched the film already, you should totally watch it. Even Luffy watched it. He said he liked it. So if you ever, and even like other people. So good comments I gotten from the various people on screen. Thank you for your comments. But now we can move on to this next segment of the future chapters, because yeah, it's already been almost a week since chapter 1 came out, and I know that at some point you're expecting news for chapter 2, and maybe chapter 3, but for the most part, chapter 2 will be a lot longer. It won't be 22 minutes. I'll aim it around 35 minutes at least. It'll be more animated. It'll go more deep into the plot. So the first chapter was just an introduction, most likely. So yeah, you got the scenes of the daily life of the characters, and then the upcoming the uprise of what's gonna be mostly attended to this movie. So the demons, and all of that. I did have to rework the beginning of chapter 2 a little bit, so I haven't gotten much progress done, but for the most part, it'll still look okay. And that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say. I think chapter 2, if it took me a month to make chapter 1, then I can say with confidence that it can actually come out maybe in late or the end of March or early April. But depending on how much work I get done and how much animating it takes, it may be a long time before chapter 2 comes out. So I'll have to keep you updated periodically. And in case anything else I have to say, let me think of it now. I thought I had something else to say for chapter 2, but I guess not, so that's pretty unfortunate. But anyway, yeah, so it's gonna be a big film. Now chapter 3, okay, I know, even though chapter 2 is not out yet, but I just want to point this out now for chapter 3. It will be probably one of my biggest projects for YouTube. It'll be the longest chapter, ranging from 45 minutes to an hour long. It'll have the most action, and it'll probably witness the most deaths. Even like it'll have the most deaths, probably even more than chapter 1 and 2 combined. So chapter 1, 3 people died. It was no one in Frosted. It was just some off characters, aka Eden's old friends, which I was trying to compare with some of my friends from school, and that's it. So that's all I really want to say. I don't want to leak anything, but yeah, as time goes by and, you know, when no one is really talking about this movie, then I will probably randomly post a leak and then call it a day to get your hypes up because of how insane everything, or how insane the next chapters are going to be. But I think I'm just literally just repeating everything, so yeah. In conclusion, yeah, that's behind the scenes. A lot of changes were remade. Chapter 2 will come out probably within the next 2 months the most, and I'll probably give out a leak maybe early March or something. I don't know, I'm just trying to see what's on my schedule because I have exams in about a week or so. And then yeah, chapter 2 will be the most action-based, most scariest, and will contain the most deaths than from chapter 1 and 2 combined, which I don't know how many people are dying in chapter 2, but I still have to figure out the plot. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna get this video edited, and yeah, that's about it. See you.